The Exorcism of Claire Devereaux. Chapter 11, The Prophecy. Savannah was alive that night, but not with peace. The city pulsed with humidity and hidden sins, its streets crawling with laughter, neon, and the hum of the living, trying to forget they were mortal. At the corner of Bull Street and Perry Lane stood a newly opened bar, Joey's Ladder. Its wooden sign, etched by hand and glowing faintly under flickering red neon, bore the image of a man climbing a burning staircase toward a halo that never quite reached him. The locals whispered that the name came from Joey's belief that everyone was climbing their own ladder to redemption, though some said the idea came to him in a dream he could never fully remember. Inside Joey's Ladder, the walls shook with the growl of a local band playing "Killing in the Name." The singer's voice was raw, and the crowd moved like one beast, shouting, drinking, drowning their ghosts in the rhythm. Colored lights flashed across sticky floors, bouncing off beer bottles and sweat-slicked faces. But in the back corner booth, John Sampson sat apart from it all. His hands were tight around a glass of whiskey that hadn't moved in half an hour. Across from him, Father Michael Castleton looked equally uneasy, his clerical collar crooked, eyes half-shadowed by fatigue and guilt. "Savannah sure likes its noise," Michael muttered, his tone soft but strained. John smirked faintly. Noise keeps the dark thoughts quiet. For a while, the crowd roared as the band hit another chorus. Michael tried to smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You don't sleep much these days," John said, watching him. Michael exhaled through his nose. "The Lord sustains me." John leaned in. Faith can't sustain what's already cracking. A silence lingered, broken only by the bass rumbling through the floor. After a long pause, John reached into his coat and laid a folded packet of papers on the table. "I got something from Professor Maximoff before he went quiet. You remember him? He teaches ancient history over at Southern University." Michael frowned slightly. "Certainly, Peter. How is he?" John nodded. "Missing. Last time I saw him, he told me that when Alex brought him that totem his team found in Algeria, he said something felt wrong from the start. Alex wasn't the same. Jittery, distracted. Said he looked like he hadn't slept in days. He'd just sit and watch from the office, staring at the thing like it was whispering to him." Michael's brow creased. "Whispering?" John's expression darkened. Maximoff said the texture of the totem was an odd texture. It looked like stone but felt like glass. After a few tests, it was determined that the outer layer was made of brimstone, solidified fire. He thought it was some kind of ancient artifact, but deeper scans showed internal heat signatures, like nothing from this world. Michael frowned deeper. "You think this thing came from hell itself?" "I think it came from a place where faith doesn't reach," John said quietly. Maximoff said the carvings matched images from the Bible, symbols the church described as apocalyptic, similar to the angel of death, with her beautiful smile and her wicked tongue. Michael chuckled nervously, but his smile didn't last. "You've been chasing this story too long, Samson." John ignored him. "Since that relic was brought into my presence, I haven't slept right. It does something to the mind. I keep seeing things when I close my eyes, things I can't shake." He looked down at his trembling hand. A dream, the same one, over and over. Michael leaned forward despite himself. The music faded into a slow, haunting riff. The bar's laughter dulled to a low murmur, as if even the air wanted to listen. In the dream, John said, I see a sky burning red. The ground splits open. From the chasms rise a horde of creatures, demons, millions of them, clawing their way out of the dark. Above them, something commands them. I can't remember its face, but I felt its presence every time. He took a breath, eyes distant. 7 angels stand to fight them. I remember their shapes, fragments. One had metallic wings, glinting like blades under lightning, and wielded a sword of polished steel that screamed when it struck. Another wielded a sword of pure ice, its edge trailing frost in the storm. One had 2 heads sharing a single body, one face crying, the other snarling. Another rode a mighty flying horse, wings wide as thunderclouds, soaring through the smoke-filled skies and obeying his every command. One angel looked wrong, red eyes, fanged teeth, but he fought beside the rest, like light trapped in a monster's shell. I can't recall the others, but I remember so many people falling into the waves of fire. The noise in the bar seemed to fade entirely. For a second, it was only John's trembling voice against the hum of silence. And then, he said softly, I saw him, the ruler of these demons. Its eyes were black, but they burned like oil fire. It looked straight at me. John's hand shook around his glass, and when it saw me, I wake up, over and over again. Lightning flashed through the windows, followed by a thunderclap that rattled the bar. Several people gasped. The band faltered, cymbals clanging offbeat. For a heartbeat, the lights flickered, shadows leaping along the walls, and then steadied again. Michael sighed and shook his head. John, you're letting this obsession chew at your soul. Maybe it's guilt, or maybe it's the whiskey. Either way, dreams aren't prophecy. If you were truly seeing the end, God would shield you. John's voice lowered, the edge of fear giving way to urgency. You don't get it, Michael. If this is real, if what I've seen is even half true, your sons, Tony and Joey, they have no idea what's coming. They don't know what's waiting in the dark. Michael stiffened, his eyes narrowing. Leave them out of this. I can't, John said flatly. They're part of this world too. The Council of Bishops met last month in secret. You know what they discussed? The seals, the ones from Revelation. They're worried some of them have already been weakened. When they break, Michael, when the last one shatters, the evil that will consume this world won't just arrive. It'll already be here. Michael's knuckles tightened against the table, his jaw flexing. You've been listening to too many frightened men in robes. They weren't frightened, John said. They were resigned. They know something's coming, and no amount of holy water or scripture will stop it. Michael shook his head. If your vision's true, then I have nothing to fear. My faith is armor enough. John's hand slammed the table, startling nearby patrons. Faith won't stop what's coming, Michael. The bar went quiet for a heartbeat, a few heads turning. Then the band roared back into a new song, louder, heavier, drowning out the moment. Michael straightened his collar, trying to recover composure. Then I'll pray for both of us. John leaned back, eyes dark. You do that, Michael. For a long moment, the only sound between them was the low thrum of guitars and thunder. Outside, the storm gathered over Savannah, lightning flashing through the glass like veins of white fire. Michael rose to leave. You should get some rest. Maybe you'll dream of peace next time. John didn't respond. He stared at his drink, the amber light rippling across its surface like molten metal. As Michael moved toward the door, John whispered, "You can't hide from prophecy, Father." Michael turned back, face half lit by lightning. "Then may God prove you wrong." He left without another word. John sat in silence as the storm pressed against the windows. The band played on, the laughter and cheers of the crowd, mixing with the rolling thunder outside. He finally lifted his eyes, across the bar, to Joey, behind the counter, shaking a mixer and pouring drinks for a group of regulars. Joey smiled at a joke someone told, wiping down the bar with casual ease, blissfully unaware of the dark truths being spoken only feet away. John's expression softened, then darkened again. He took a slow sip of his drink, his gaze never leaving Joey, concern tightening his jaw, as if seeing a storm that no one else could. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating the bar in white light. John's eyes reflected it like two small, worried mirrors. Then the music swallowed everything,